Hello nieces, hello nephews, it's your Uncle Charles here and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we do unbiased price action analysis. I just want to give a big shout out to Uncle Pow, the other uncle. You know, there's a very few uncles out there that Uncle Charles respects, but Uncle Pow, man, I gotta show that guy some respect. Why? Because every time he speaks, wow, the market, it reacts, guys. Before we get to this daily chart and talk about how the market hit July's high, look at this intraday, 15-minute chart intraday here. What did Uncle Charles talked about in his last few videos? I did my best to identify the chart range for us. I mentioned 456.5 was top of the chart range and the bottom of the chart range was 453.5. You know, we had some bounces off 453.5, one here, perfect, around here. And then from there, as you can see in hindsight now, after the double bottom around 453.5, SPY went up higher. However, on Friday, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Right here, this is the 11 o'clock candle when Powell started speaking. Uncle Charles has his own Discord where I try to do my best to give analysis throughout the day and keep my members on the right side of the trade. I wrote here, this was at 10:47 a.m. before Powell started speaking. I wrote, not a damn thing happening with SPY. However, Uncle Powell speaking at 11 a.m. Eastern. Fingers crossed he said something stupid. And the market reacts wildly. The stupider the better. You remember the good old days when the market would react and give us amazing volatility over tweets? You remember those days? Anyways, now we gotta rely on Jay Powell. Anyway, jokes aside, stay prepared and ready. The return of the trend phase comes without warning, and when it takes off, it doesn't care who missed out on the takeoff. Okay, so the most important part was what I wrote here. The levels, the setup, right? I wrote at 450. I wrote 456.5 is still resistant, as a lot of you guys know. I mentioned to you guys as well. And if it clears, 458 and 459.4ish are in play. And of course, I have to give the bearish scenario. And I wrote if 455 fail, 453.5 is back in play with 452 below. Okay, and remember, these are not predictions. I'm just identifying the setups so that we can react unbiasedly. And of course, 11 o'clock, Jay Powell started speaking and the market just went and did its thing. Right there, boom! That yellow line is, this yellow line right here, the horizontal one, is my 456.5 level. You guys can see how it cleared 456.5. And even on the next candle, when the market dropped a little bit, it almost tested 456.5 as a support, but from there overall it did not break down 455 support. There was no reason to enter puts. It did not give us a false breakout, and it bounced on the back test as support, and it just went up. And of course, I alerted the group 456.5 cleared here, putting 458 in play. All right, and I mentioned to the group on the next post to make sure, because I like to play it level to level. We go for base hits, not home runs. And then once the price hits our next target, I tell the group to always take most profits or some profits and leave a runner. And that's what I told the group here. And yeah, it just worked out beautifully. Even when it hit the next target, this line right here is my 458 level. You guys can see it cleared 458. It never broke back below. It tried to, fake some people out by going down as low as 457.6s, but it never closed back below 458. So there was no false breakout setup, and there was no reason to cut your runners, assuming you followed Uncle's price action plan and got the breakout 456.5. There was no reason to cut your runners. And when it cleared 458, it just led to more upside hitting the next target. I had it at 459.44. Okay, 459.44 was July's high. So that was my next target. And obviously you can see here the market, kind of went up a little higher than that, but overall it did not clear it. All right, this was after market, so I'm not counting this right here. But we'll see what happens tomorrow on Monday. Okay, overall, this is the same plan that I executed, in the Discord and alert on the Discord, is what I've been telling you guys. The chop range was 453.5 to 456.5. We didn't need to predict. There was no crystal ball. All we had to do was react unbiasedly to the price action. The price action, thanks to Uncle Powell, serving as a catalyst, the price action decided it's going to break out resistant levels that we've been watching. And it just worked out beautiful for some level, more than one level move. A couple of levels were hit, so that's always nice, no prediction. So with that being said, we got to go to the daily chart and discuss a little bit what's going on, what can possibly happen. I guess you can try to do some prediction on the daily chart, but overall, in real time, the best approach is just reacting to the price action. Everything else we're going to identify beforehand. So the levels, the setups, and then react unbiasedly as best we can, whatever the price action chooses to do. Okay? So, yes. Potential double top is the question. Potential double top. Obviously, that 456.5 level is a critical support now. So we definitely got to watch that level. 458 is first support, but 456.5 is the critical level that we need to watch, because if it breaks back below, well, that's a false breakout setup. We had plenty of selling pressure from that level in the past couple of weeks in the end of November. So if it comes back and retests, we want to see it defend as support to confirm the breakout. All right, we want to see resistant turn into support. All right. However, but if it breaks back below, that is the time, in my opinion, to really turn back to being bearish. And we could likely go for a pullback, and maybe the double top would be in play. However, we still have this pink trend line that I have here, okay? It's sloping down, but it's from all-time high to July high to November 20th high. And we also recently broke out of that as well, okay? Officially on the weekly chart. This is official on the weekly chart. We had some other breakouts above it, but it wasn't, legit on the weekly chart, but now it is. So we can really watch this trend line, and it sloped down to 454.5, okay? So we got a support level at 456.5 that I would love for you guys to enter to your charts, and 454.5 based on this multi-year trend line, okay? If these support levels fail, that's likely the false breakout setup that bears want that could trigger more downside or deeper pullback. All right? 456.5 and 454.5 are the levels that need to fail, and that will put lower targets in play. All right? Does that make sense, guys? And the targets that I have below, support, first support will be at 452. Next support would be at 450.5, and then we got a fib level support at 448.7. Those levels fail, pull back, sell off will be a lot more deeper, and will go a lot lower. And below 448.7, I have 447.5 and 446. This is the low of November 14th candle when we had that bullish breakaway gap. Well, that's where it started. That's where the gap will start, around 446. If we break down 446, we'll likely head back lower to fill in the gap. All right, guys? Now, that's the bear case scenario. Here's the bull case scenario. Overall, if we decide to chop more, oh, Lord, please don't let us chop. But overall, any pullback, bulls must defend, obviously, 456.5 and 454.5 lowest. As long as above, bulls are in control, okay? Now, to show some really bullish follow through and get us some in the trend phase, it got to break above 459.44 for two reasons. Few reasons. It was the July high, which is why we're considering it a potential double top. It's not actually a double top until it breaks down critical support. But it is a potential double top. So if it clears 459.44, then the potential double top is invalidated. That means no double top. And that will put higher targets in play. Also, another reason is, I usually show this towards the end of the video, but yes, Darkpool order, 456.44, okay? Now, I have that support level. It's at 456.5. If you guys rather use my level or the Darkpool level, they're just 6 cents off, okay? It's not a big deal. So, yes, to be bearish, they got to break down 456.5, but as long as it's above, based on the Darkpool level, that's bullish, okay? So it's bullish for multiple reasons. And if it break 459.44, it would just validate the bullish sentiment. Does that make sense, guys? So a break above 459.44 would clear July's high, would cancel the potential double top, and it will make all that Darkpool order that we got at 456.44, which was around the top of my chop range. It'll make that Darkpool order look a lot more bullish, that big money is actually wants the market to go higher. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. All right, guys, that's what I got for the SPY. For Triple Q, the bears still failed, for a couple of weeks now, just couldn't break below that 388 level. That was July high. While SPY was struggling to test July high, Triple Q Ben broke July high. However, it's been using July high as support, 388. So the plan's still the same as far as a bearish scenario goes. It has to give us some closes, daily chart closes below 388 for me to be bearish. 386, 383, and possibly even lower, all the way down to fill in the gap around 377-ish. Those will only be in play below 388. As of right now, 388 is still showing buying pressure. It's still defending as support. It just needs to clear resistance, 390, 391.5, and 393. If those levels clear, we're likely heading to a higher high for the year of 2023. Okay, guys? IWM, look at that strong buying pressure. Big body, green candle, and it also recaptured a Fibonacci level, which was at 184.5. Okay, Fibonacci levels at 184.5. And it cleared it. So as long as above 184.5, we are bullish. Now, well, before I mention the other thing, let me mention the targets. Next target, as long as above 184.5, 186 will be a target, 188, and then up to 190 plus. Okay? Now, when you see a big body candle like this, be careful. Why? You got to watch the next day, the second candle, the second day, the candle that came after this big body green candle. If it ends up being a chop day tomorrow, that's a bearish sign, okay? Because it could end up being an evening star pattern. Evening star pattern usually have big body green candle. Second candle is usually a choppy one. And then the third candle is usually a sell-off, a big body red candle. So if you see a choppy day tomorrow on IWM, that could be a bearish sign that the bulls ran out of strength and an evening star pattern is developing here, okay? Now, if it doesn't chop tomorrow, we stay above 194.5 and it doesn't chop tomorrow, that's bullish. We're going to head up higher, up to those targets that I mentioned, okay? Now, if we don't get a chop day and the bears don't want to waste any time and they break back below 194.5, look to short. It could be a potential false breakout setup combined with an overbought RSI. And then lower targets would be in play. Okay, if 184.5 fails, 183 will be first support, and then 181. Below 181, I have 178-ish, and then down to 176.5. Those would be the lower targets. Below 176.5, based on my yellow trend line here, bears are in control. Okay? Let's see. Tesla. Beautiful Tesla. Yeah, we had a dark cloud candle up here. It did lead to more downside. Yesterday, I wrote to the group. Well, not yesterday. Friday, I wrote to the group early in the morning. I'm like, guys, if you guys swing put, make sure you guys lock in those profits early in the morning, okay, at open, because look what happened. I didn't know it was gonna happen, but these are the reasons why, you know, we should secure profits as, you know, as tactical as we can, because we get these bounces. Don't know if it's gonna head up higher or back down, but that would, I would assume, if you swung from up here, would mess up your profits a little bit. Taking profits down here would have been more than taking profits up here, right? But anyways, so we got this buying pressure that ended on Friday. Will bears continue? If this is, you know, a higher low, it got to clear resistance starting with 244. All right, around 238, got to clear that resistance around 244 to 240. Yeah, 241. Excuse me. 241 is the level for bulls that bulls need to clear for more upside. Okay, to continue the buying pressure for Friday, 241 must clear to trigger more upside. If it does, you know, look to long. Okay, now look at where this bounce came from. Right around that buy zone. Look at all the wicks that came from that buy zone around 231 to 232 zone. No coincidence, guys. There's a lot of people trying to buy it up. So for me to be bearish, that buy zone needs to break down and become resistant around 231 to 232 zone. Below 231 to be safer. All right. Obviously, we have support at I got support at 237.5, 236, 234.5, 232.5, and then 231. Play it level to level to be safe. Swing your runners, or for bigger home run moves, do it with runners. You know, risk management first before profits, and then profits after. But overall, to be bearish, but it got to be below 231. And to be bullish tomorrow, it got to get above 241 to trigger more upside. All right, 241, I got 242.5, got 244, 245.5, 247 as targets. Moving on to Apple. I'm looking at the 4-hour chart because the bull fact look a little more clearer on it. And as you guys can see, we got a third test of it. And is it going to break out? If it does, it has to be above 191.5. If it does, swing long. Or don't swing long. Day trade longs. Up to you. But 193 and 195 and 197 plus would be in play. If 191.5 can clear, I would long. All right. Now, for me to trust the rejection, for it to test the bottom, to go back to test the bottom, which is like around 187.8-ish. All right. Got to break down support. I have support at 190. And, yeah, break down support at 190. We can possibly go test the bottom. That's around 187.8. And obviously below 187.8 would be a breakdown. Just because it's a bull flag don't mean it's going to be bullish. Got to get that confirmation of breaking the resistant line. And if it rejects and break down the support line, because we have that for a reason, then that's bearish. Okay, so below 187.8, I would assume, I would lean that bears take control on Apple with lower targets in play. 185.8 would be one of my targets, and 184 below that. All right, NVDA, watch out for this. We got a big body red candle followed by a choppy candle. Okay, that could be a morning star pattern, which is usually a bullish pattern. Okay, be careful with that, guys. Yeah, where did NVDA close around 467.6s? So I got resistance at 469, 471, and 473. I have a critical one at 474.7 and a fib level one at 476. All right, got to clear those levels. It could be, but just watch out. It could be a morning star pattern, but it got to clear those resistant levels that I mentioned. All right, because if it is a morning star, then tomorrow's candle could be a big body green candle. Just something to watch out for. For it to not be true and invalidated, it just got to break down support, especially 466 and 464. If it breaks down those levels, we are bearish, and we could drop a lot lower. 464, I got 462.5, 461, and 458 as targets to the downside. Below 458 is a fib level, so that would be very bearish if it breaks that fib level down. Okay, Amazon recaptured a fib level. I zoom out a little bit. I got a fib level here that I started back from August 2022 high. That's at 146.5. 146.57, but we just say 146.5. It's just simpler. So yeah, we got a recapture of that level. So as long as above 146.5, that false breakdown setup stays intact. Next critical fib level is at 147.7. You can just round it to 148 to be safer. But overall, above 148 would be bullish. It would be bullish. Put in the top of the megaphone pattern, which is at 150.7 in play, okay? Now, if we break below 146.5 and 145, which is a shorter term fib level I have, that's bearish, guys. Look to short. We're likely dropping down. Going to drop down 143.8. It's a gap fill. 142 and 140 are fib levels to the downside. Those would be targets, okay, guys? Still the same. AMD trying to showcase some buying pressure here. Got to be careful. If it can recapture 122.2, I would long that. And the RSI is not overbought, so it's a good sign if you like RSI. 122.2 clears. That's a recapture. False breakdown setup. Put in 124.3-ish. 125.7-ish in play with 127 and 129-ish above that. Let me see. Yeah, 129-ish and then 130.5 above that, okay? Now for no bounce, to cancel that bounce, got to break down support. I would look to short below 119.5 and 117.5, okay? Friday was a bounce, but it could be, you know, one of those bounces that does not lead nowhere. So, yeah, breakdown support 119.5 and 117.5. I would look to short those and target more lower levels. Okay, 116, 114, possibly down to 113. Okay, those will be downside targets. Meta. Oh, I got Meta zoomed out. Well, from all-time high down to October, what's that, November 2022 low, I have a fib level here at 78.6 fib level at 321. If I zoom in on Meta, you guys can see where we got some buying pressure. Interesting. We got buying pressure there. We cleared 321 back on November 10th, and we recently, on Friday, December 1st, back tested as a support and got buying pressure. We saw a critical level changing its role here from resistant to support. Okay, so obviously, for me to trust this bounce more, it has to recapture 326.2. If it can clear 326.2, I would favor more upside 328, 330, maybe all the way back up to 336 to test this orange trend line that I have here, okay? Now, for me to be bearish, first of all, got to stay below 326.2, all right, and break down more support levels, all right? I have a resistance level at 325, but there is support at 323 and, of course, 321. Below 321, bears are in control. That's a loss of a critical level, and it will put lower targets in play. 319, 317, and 315 would be good starts. Netflix broke down some levels. That 470 level, goodbye. 467.5 level, goodbye. And now it's possibly going down lower. Okay, I got the next critical support level at 462.7, a good level move down there. And then I got a previous pivot low around 459.6, 457.5, and then I got a fib level at 455. All right, I can't get bullish unless we get a false breakdown setup. So 465.7, 467.5, those two levels must recapture to start, and of course break back above 470, and maybe we can head all the way back up to 477.5 or higher, maybe. But right now, as long as below those levels, stay bearish. Microsoft, I think we talked about this 380.30 level. That's my 1.236 Fibonacci extension level. 380.30. It cleared that level November 28. November 29, you can see we had a false breakout setup, and we got some more downside. Bears should like that, but will they head down lower? Okay, I got support at 371. Close around 374.5, right on my, that's one of my levels actually. And then I got 373 and 371. So if 371 fails, we're likely heading down lower. Maybe all the way down to 366.7. But before that, I got 369 and then 366.7. Below 366.7, that's a loss of another fib level. We could possibly head down a lot lower, okay? I can't get bearish on MSFT, Microsoft, as usual, unless it recaptures some lost levels. Started with 375.5. That will be a good start. Then 370, 379, and of course 380 6.30. Break up above those levels, we could likely head to a new all-time high. Very possible. I do have a Fibonacci extension level at 388.68, possibly. But keep in mind the new all-time high is around 384.3-ish, according to this November 29th candle. So that will be a level to watch as well, okay? Google, I got some fib levels as I always do. The green ones from early October high down to late October low. A Fibonacci extension level at 132, not extension level, it's a 50% fib level. It's right at 132. We got some buying pressure there, guys. Also, decent body red candle followed by this weak little small candle. And it also bounced off a fib level. So for me to take it serious, it got to recapture 134.5. If it does, look to long on Google. That would put higher targets back in play. 137, maybe even higher. 139, maybe even higher, up to 141.2-ish to retest this pink trend line. Obviously, above that would be bearish. It would be a recapture. Okay? But if it break back below 132, that's bearish. 129.4 and lower are in play. Okay, guys? Here, you guys saw the dark pool level from last week. Most of it was at 456.44. And I told you guys I had that critical level at 456.5. Use whatever level you want. They're just a few cents off, okay? As long as above it, we bullish. Below it, we'll switch back to being bearish, okay? Here is the option flow. Filter for 100K premiums or above. And it's overall bullish for the SPY right now. Triple Q, it's bearish. Okay, so that's, yeah, more contracts. Shout out to my homie Cosmos. But yeah, the flow sentiment is bullish. That usually means more of the big money is going into calls, even though there's a higher quantity of puts. That's what I love about cheddar flow. So that's something to think about. The flow sentiment is overall bullish, but there's just a higher quantity of puts. So I would say that's bullish. IWM, bullish, bullish. Tesla, yeah, the quantity is edges to the calls more, but flow sentiment is overall bearish. Interesting. Even the puts, it has some above, while the calls are coming in ask. Puts are coming in above the ask. That I think that matters. Apple, overall bullish on Apple. NVDA, overall bullish. Amazon. Okay, interesting. So over 3,400 contracts for calls, 966 contracts for puts, but the flow sentiment is overall bearish. Interesting. The only puts that I'm seeing here is this split order. This split order, it's a split order, but premium is 3.2 million. And look at the size, 966, while the calls, I mean, they are sweep orders, but it's less money. More contracts, but less money. You guys get what I'm saying? AMD. Okay, AMD is bullish. Meta, bullish. Netflix, straight up bearish. Cool. MSFT, Microsoft is bearish. And GOOG is bearish. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys found value in this video. And if you did, definitely consider joining my Discord. If not, please hit the like and subscribe button. That would help the channel as well. But yeah, good luck for this week. We'll talk again tomorrow. Peace.